This is Zastro with Shadu back in the commentary cave. I was worried there for a second. I thought Soundwave and Michael Bolton might steal my thunder. I just wanted to be the first to publicly make the announcement that Goonswarm has finally gotten into the Alliance tournament as Wildly Inappropriate today. The corporation Wildly Inappropriate, the executor corp of the Wildly Inappropriate Alliance, has announced that they will be leaving their alliance and joining Goonswarm. So the Goonswarm Federation is finally in the tournament. Yay! Go Y Dot. So, what do we have here, Shadu?
Looks like it might be a short stay for the Wildly Inappropriate and the Goonswarm in the Alliance tournament, because they are fielding a Minmatar rush against an ECM team from Paisti Syndicate, and the match gets underway. The two Sleipnirs from Paisti were warped in close to the Minmatar team from Wildly Inappropriate, and both of those teams are burning towards each other while the Rooks and the Kitsunes are trying to get away. Looks like drones got out and were auto a crest on the on the Paisti Syndicate team, which could be an upset, because if those Kitsunes got the drone aggro on them, which it looks like Shauna Tree got drone aggro on.
Yeah, it looks like Wildly Inappropriate has closed the gap with Paisti Syndicate, but the real question is, will the new Goonswarm team be able to lock anything?
Exactly. So far, it looks like most of the damage is arriving on the Wildly Inappropriate Goonswarm team, while Paisti is still comfortably ripping Shauna Tree, who got the drone aggro in a Kitsune.
It doesn't look like there's much damage being spread around on the Paisti Syndicate team. There is some drone aggro, but nothing really taking damage. So it does seem like Paisti's gotten locks on Y Dot.
This is very strange. Looks like the reps arrived from the Scimitar to the Trasher. However, one of the Tramiels is taking heavy damage here. But it looks like, for some reason, Wildly Appropriate, the Goonswarm team has chosen to primary the Scimitar on the Paisti team instead of the Kitsune.
Why would they do that? I don't think that's good target calling at all. But as we talked about earlier, sometimes you get in those situations where you're just trying to lock anything you can possibly lock, and that might explain why they're shooting the Scimitar and not those E-War frigates.
Perhaps, and while the Inappropriate team is taking heavy damage on the Cyclone, for some reason the Scimitar is ripping the Trasher, or the Trasher has a local rep, I don't know. But the first Cyclone now starting to take heavy armor damage going into hull, and dying very quickly here, while the Trasher is in armor as well. Looks like while the Inappropriate Goonswarm team is losing several ships at the same time. However, Paisti Syndicate now taking heavy damage on their Scimitar.
The Goonswarm Scimitar is clearly jammed. He's not being able to get any reps on any of the other WeDot ships that are taking damage. Paisti Syndicate is one of their Scimitars just lost all of his shields. Nothing else is taking damage. If that Scimitar goes down, it's really going to hurt the survivability of the Paisti Syndicate team. But if Wildly Inappropriate can't jam anything, it might not make any difference. If they can't lock anything, it might not make any difference.
Yes, very strange call to go for the Scimitar first. However, let's look how it goes to the Wildly Inappropriate team. They have lost 2 ships, while Paisti has lost only their Scimitar. However, now Wildly Inappropriate correctly calls the Kitsune, and Kitsune is starting to take heavy damage. You need to get these EW light slips, which die very quickly, out of the field early.
It seems like they're doing that now. The WeDot/Goonswarm team is one of the Paisti Syndicate Kitsunes in structure, but then damage stopped. He may have been saved by a lucky jam there.
Perhaps so, but the second Kitsune also taking heavy damage, while Wildly Inappropriate is losing yet another Cyclone.
Another Cyclone down. It doesn't look good for Wildly Inappropriate at this point in time. Paisti seems to be really controlling the damage that they receive with that ECM.
Looks like Paisti got their jams on all of the Wildly Inappropriate team. Of course, the more ships Goonswarm team loses, the better the Paisti Syndicate jams will arrive on those damaged ships, and the more they are able to kite and get out of range. However, looks like somebody's got a lock on Shauna Tree again. If that Kitsune goes down, once again, in these ECM teams, when one of those dominoes falls down, the danger is you will lose all of those Kitsunes.
That's true. To start that cascade, you have to get those first couple of dominoes down, and that's the hardest thing to do with these ECM teams once they lock you and have you starting jammed. The strength of using Kitsunes, the E-War frigates, is they have such a fast lock time, they can lock before anyone else on the field and get the jams rolling.
The question only now is, has the Goonswarm team lost too many Cyclones? And as all of their Cyclones, in fact, have now died, that one Kitsune might not matter too much anymore. It might be simply too little, too late for the Goonswarm team, and they are back to the forums to post about it.
The Goonswarm team still has more DPS on the field than the Paisti Syndicate team, but none of that damage is getting applied due to the jams at this point in time.
Absolutely. Looks like Paisti Syndicate did lose another Kitsune. However, 3 Rooks still remain as first Sleipnir and Wildly Inappropriate team now in half shields. Of course, they are heavy shield tanks. That Scimitar is still around from Wildly Inappropriate, but I would venture to guess that he is not able to get any reps in whatsoever.
As Shadu said, that the Tree Rooks are still here. That is a rare forest-dwelling version of the normal Rook. Really not a whole lot of damage. And as I said that, Wildly Inappropriate / Goonswarm made a liar out of me. The last Kitsune alive is in structure and could explode any second now, and he's dead.
Of course, this is the downside of using those Kitsunes. Once anything, especially Sleipnirs, gets unjammed, or even those 2 Tramiels, it is goodbye Electronic Attack Frigate very quickly. However, the Goonswarm Sleipnir now entering low shields. It looks like he just got a rep from that Scimitar. Maybe he got an lucky unjammed cycle. Yes, he is catching reps from the Scimitar.
There's still a whole lot of ECM on the Paisti Syndicate side with those Rooks, but it seems like their jams are starting to fail. A lot of damage being spread out on the Paisti Syndicate team. This could be a turning point.
Perhaps what's happening here is these Rooks are concentrating too heavily on that Scimitar, which perhaps brought more ECCM than usual. So if one of these Rooks goes down, as 2 of them take damage at the same time, if one of them goes down, I think that's enough domino blocks to still be able to swing this match in Goonswarm's favor.
I agree. 2 Rooks now taking shield damage, but the damage is falling off. As those jams go on and off, we'll see damage start and stop in fits, but Paisti Syndicate has no logistics anymore to rep them back up. It was a questionable decision to shoot it at first. Maybe it'll change things, but as I say that, the Goonswarm team lost their first of their Sleipnirs.
Absolutely. Little bit strange calls by the Goonswarm Federation there to go for that Scimitar instead of the Kitsunes, first of all. Maybe they thought that they weren't able to break the tanks, but we certainly saw, if you can't break a Kitsune tank, why would you think you can break a Scimitar tank?
I have no idea. I would, if it were me calling the shots, and I'm perhaps not the best FC in the world, maybe they know more than me, I would have gone for those Kitsune straight away. They chose not to do that. That may be the end of the Wildly Inappropriate team with that decision. They seem to be jammed most of this match and not being able, but yeah, at this point in time, they're just not doing enough damage to the Paisti Syndicate.
Yes, while that Paisti Syndicate Rook is taking damage, it is still managing to hang right about in there, while the Wildly Inappropriate Sleipnir is taking heavy damage now, and I just got told off for using the Goonswarm name.
Oh, okay, well...
Sorry about that, folks. This is, of course, Wildly Inappropriate still. Perhaps what they are doing so well on the field here is that they are still on the WE.DOT name fighting against the Paisti Syndicate.
WE.DOT has, on the forums, publicly declared that their Executor Corp, Wildly Inappropriate, will be joining Goonswarm Federation. As of yet, that has not happened. I was excited about my diplomatic victory, getting my own Goonswarm team finally in the tournament after all this time. But just to keep it from being confusing, we'll call them WE.DOT or Y.DOT for the rest of this match.
Absolutely, and the Y.DOT Sleipnir is now entering towards armor. However, it is still catching reps every now and then from that Scimitar. And as we see, the Paisti Syndicate first Rook now entering armor. If they are able to get few unlucky jam cycles and catch some damage from the Wildly Inappropriate team, this could very well still, I really don't think so.
Not with that Sleipnir.
I think this is over.
Yeah, that's the second Sleipnir on the Wildly Inappropriate team. Now, almost out of armor, about to lose structure. He's about to explode. Still 2 Sleipnirs on the Paisti Syndicate team and 3 Rooks. At this point in time, it's just too late to start a cascade of an ECM team ships blowing up.
And as the Wildly Inappropriate Sleipnir blows up, the Paisti Syndicate Rook is now in structure. But as we said, it's probably too little too late. Still, would be nice for Wildly Inappropriate to catch a few of these annoying Rooks and take them down.
So this is, again, we're seeing a lot of heavy ECM in the brackets, which when we were talking about it on the commentary bench, we didn't think we were going to see almost any ECM at all this late. Why do you think people are bringing the ECM out right now?
It is a little bit strange. However, at this early bracket still, you know, perhaps Paisti Syndicate felt comfortable that they would be able to take out the wildly inappropriate team using a team that is easily countered. Perhaps they anticipated, perhaps they had some knowledge already that WeDot was going to bring their Minmatar Rush team, which of course does lose always, well, most of the time, if piloted correctly, to an ECM team.
Minmatar Rush is strong. It's done really well in this tournament, but if there's one team that they have not done well against, it is the ECM teams. ECM, you have to take pretty particular setups to counter, and one of the downsides of bringing ECCM to counter ECM is if you're not facing an ECM team, those modules are wasted. They do you no good against anyone else. So, wildly inappropriate, losing the last of their Seleptors, nothing left on the field but a Scimitar and a Dramiel, and at this point, Paisti will just be wiping up.
Absolutely. Typically, a Minmatar Rush team on the Sleipnirs and the Cyclones, you run some tracking disruptors in your midst to counter another Rush team, such as the Amar Rush team that we've met here, and you wouldn't normally put as much ECCM. However, it looked like this Scimitar on the WeDot team was fielding some ECCM. Perhaps that Dramiel was putting projected ECCM on that Scimitar. It was able to hang in there and get some nice reps in, but it just wasn't enough. And of course, Wildly Inappropriate did make some very strange target calling, choosing to go for the Scimitar on the Paisti Syndicate team before taking out those Kitsunes.
Yep, the most important thing is to get the dominoes to start falling. The quickest dominoes, the easiest dominoes are the Kitsunes. Those are the ones you have to kick first. I'm not really sure why you would go for a logistics ship, which typically has a decent tank and also is going to have a lot of its damage mitigated by all the jamming on his team. I have no idea why you would try to shoot him first.
Absolutely. I mean, this game dangerously close to Paisti. I'm pretty sure they were sweating at part of this turning because those dominoes started to fall very quickly there. But on the other side, they had managed to take out a couple of Cyclones already, so maybe they're feeling comfortable.
I really wanted to see my future Goon Swarm friends of WeDot take this one, but it's just not going to happen today. As their Dramiel is in structure and about to die, that will end it. Paisti Syndicate over Wildly Inappropriate and a pretty commanding victory.
Still a very interesting match and a good show from Wildly Inappropriate in this tournament. Well done, guys. Good luck in Goon Swarm. And with that, Paisti advances through, and we're going to pass you back to the studio.